All right, all right, all right. We are back. It's Thursday. The beautiful ladies of the Millionaire Ladies Mob. We are here to educate you and bring you some information that you can learn from. Want to make sure you understand that this is not specific investment advice, legal advice, or tax advice. Please consult a tax professional about your individual needs. This is a general conversation that we all must have. And today we're talking about debt management in 2023 in light of all the things going on in the financial world, including our banking systems and our interest rates and all those things. Because me and the ladies here, we're getting really interesting inquiries from our clients regarding what's going on with the banks and what should I do with my debt and what shouldn't I do. And so we're just having a general conversation here. So just quickly, want to make sure you know who all the ladies are again. We got Aaliyah, the healthcare queen. She's out on the West Coast in beautiful sunny California. You can see her beautiful greenery in her background and the sunlight still shining where she lives. And we get Carmen out of the beautiful Atlanta, Georgia, where the peaches are good and the women are fine and educated with money. And I'm Saran Baker, and I'm here in the Washington, D.C. metro area. So we're going to get this conversation started, right? And so, again, the conversation is around debt management. But I wanted to start off with a couple questions, ladies, so we can just kind of have a conversation. And one of the things I ask is, what is the concern that you're hearing or feeling around debt right now? What are people saying to you? What are your clients saying to you when they're talking to you about debt? And, what are some of the responses?
Well, this is Aaliyah, everybody. Thank you for joining us. But I had a client today who doesn't have a lot of debt, but he has money in the bank.
Mm,
And he doesn't have a lot of debt, but he says, you know what? Should I continue to pay my credit cards? Are the banks going to fail? Should I be putting my money in stocks and bonds and things like that? So there's also a fear of putting your money in a bank. Building up credit is still good, but cash, like we said earlier, cash is king.
right.
So those are the questions that I'm getting. What should I do? Should I take on more debt? Should I, pay off my mortgages? Should I be paying off my credit cards? A lot of things. Those are the questions that I'm getting.
Okay. Karma, what you got?
So, with what happened last weekend, right? Really kind of get started people thinking, right? About their money and if their money is safe. And, if you've been listening to us, we are not anti-bank or anything like that, but we tell you, the bank is there. It's a tool in handling your finances. But you have to know which tool to use for whatever situation there is, right? You have a toolbox, and if you need to screw in something, you have a screw with the things. You're not going to use a hammer to hit that in, right?
Mhm.
Because it's not going to go in and stay properly. You're going to need a screwdriver, a drill, or something like that. So it's all about using the tools that you have available to you um, correctly, right? Knowing what tool to use for what. And you've been listening to us, and we talk about the fact that we shouldn't be using our checking account as some place to save or grow money, or even our savings accounts. Even though it's called savings account, we're not using it to save or grow money, because the bottom line is we are losing money because we're not even getting enough of a return to keep up with inflation. So we need to put our money in a tool, in a vehicle that will keep up with inflation, or at least hedge a little bit off of that inflation, because it's almost nothing right now that it's guaranteed keeping up with inflation, right? And so some people might say, well, um people are not keeping money in the banks like that. But the truth is, there's trillions of dollars sitting in savings accounts,
Mm.
right? And then what happened over this weekend, where although it didn't affect many individual people, it was more people, more business, small businesses and business investor type account. Uh, they also need this information that we're talking about, because many of them, 80 something percent of them, had more than $250,000 in accounts across at least the very first bank that they failed, and then the second one that they came in and took over.
Right.
And we talk about the fact that if you have anything over $250,000 that's even insured by the FDIC, that money is gone. You're not guaranteed to get that back. You're guaranteed to get up to $250,000, but no more. And we show business owners how they can actually put their money someplace where it would be safe in the event that something like this would happen. And I understand that many business owners want to be able to have access to capital very, very quickly, right? And it's a misconception that some of the vehicles we talk about, that they would have to wait days and weeks and months to access their capital. Absolutely not. But like this past week has been interesting. I have had clients talk to me about why do I think that happened, and are those people are going to get back their money, and basically what should they be doing? Like, what should I be doing with my money? So that's been some of the conversation. I'll share a little bit later what in depth what we talked about, but that's what this week has been. Yeah. It's been a little while. I think it's been like in the past couple of years, over 500 banks have failed. So it's not something it's common. It's very common.
The difference is, and you do have a little delay now. You didn't have a delay earlier, but the difference is that the banks that have failed haven't been as large as the SVB, Silicon Valley Bank, SVB Bank has been. And so now what's happening is it's on a grander scale. And what I see is individuals, right, are fearful. And so some folks are like, let me hurry up and pay off all my debt. And then some folks are like, let me figure this out. And I had a couple conversations today. I'm like, listen, right now, cash is king, right? We don't ever leave credit out because credit is still queen. But the idea of having cash on hand is important for us. Absolutely, we want you. And we're going to go through some steps that we talk about for managing your debt. But the thing is that cash is king. And the more cash you have available to you, you will have some security, because we've always talked about in most of our conversations, protecting your assets before you start your investment strategies, your real estate businesses, your crypto game, your land purchases, all those fancy things that we love to do and to diversify. But the first step is some type of protection and having a plan in place. And like you mentioned with the FDIC, I actually had this conversation with my dad. He said, I think it's $250,000 per account. I said, no, it's per depositor. So you're the depositor. And so if you have more than $250,000, and even if you have 5 accounts with Bank of America or Wells or SVP or whatever, if it's more than $250,000, technically it's only insured to $250,000. Now, Biden came in with a little rescue plan, and he's making all the individual depositors whole, right? And we'll go into that a little bit later, because that gets into more of the conversation about the business of banking and how that structure goes. But some of the things that we are telling our clients now who have debt and who are worried, who are trying to figure out how to manage right now in this new world, as the interest rates are going up on different things, there's a couple different things you really want to do. You want to maintain your credit score, especially if you have a good credit rating, right? Some of the other things include, maybe you should stop using your credit cards, girl.
Good idea.
I'm just saying, stop it, right? And if you can, maybe do some negotiations, right? But those are some of the things that we can be doing. And Aaliyah, tell me, what are some of the other things you're telling folks that are calling you with debt and how you want to manage it, how to manage it?
Some of the things I'm talking about is, do you actually know? I'm asking them, do you actually know what you owe? So if you don't, and I've said it a couple times before, when I was younger, I gauged what was in my checking account as to what I would spend. And that's how I did a lot of things. But as I got older, I realized I need to put in writing somewhere so in it and someone can know what's going on in my life so that someone can, just in case something happens to me. And I don't know why I was thinking about this. I last night I just had an epiphany. Wow, I forgot to let my son know my cell phone password. It just came to me. But a lot of our stuff is held in our cell phone. You've got to think about, you have expenses. Maybe you keep it on your notepad. Maybe you keep it on an Excel spreadsheet. I have a detailed Excel spreadsheet that I use. There's QuickBooks. There's lots of things that people can do to know where they are every month. You don't want to have more month than your money. And that's how a lot of people live. Those that don't live like that and spend as they want don't think about it, but you really should know exactly where your money is going every month, because then you can teach your children to do the same things. You don't want to do willy nilly on your own, and then your children will do the same thing. So you want to think about, again, what kind of expenses that you have every month, write it down, see where you can cut back, see where you can make changes. We have a lot of those movie subscriptions, and I looked at the ones I have again. A few months ago, I had really, really, really watched it. And then all of a sudden I said, oh, they've got this special. I can do it $199 for, 3 months or something. And then you forget,
Yeah.
oh, now it's $8.99. So just little things you can do in your life, not saying you're penny pinching. What you're doing is that you are watching and knowing where your money is going.
I
Okay.
mean, not to be a jerk, but sometimes you got to just say, you know what? You're wasting a whole bunch of money doing a bunch of BS. And now you want to come to me and ask me to fix your credit problems and your debt, right? That's being mean, but it's like, you got to make some adjustments. We got to make some adjustments because we can't expect to try to do the same exact thing we were doing, then come to a financial services professional and say, hey, I need help. But you don't want to change that. You want to keep all these accounts. You want to keep doing all the mess you've been doing. You don't want to stop eating out. You don't want to stop buying donuts. You don't want to stop going shopping. You just want to keep doing everything the same. And then you say, "How can you help me manage my debt?" Yeah, I can help you manage your debt. Keep your behind out the stove.
Oh
I'm
my
just saying.
goodness.
I'm having a little bit of I'm having a moment here today,
You
right?
are.
But the thing is, and I want to bring Carmen back in. So that's some of the things. I mean, and don't get me wrong. I'm not having this conversation having never been in credit card debt. I'm not saying I've never been late on a bill. I'm not saying I've always had money to do things. But what I am saying is when I check myself, I was able to say, you know what, Saran, your behind was eating out every day. You wasn't preparing your meals and reserving your money. You was using your credit cards for BS. And if you go back and look at your statements, you can look and you can see exactly how you wasted money. And now you paying interest on food, fashion, and fun. And you're trying to figure out why you're in credit debt. I'll tell you why. Go online, log into capitalone.com, log into your account, and go click on those electronic statements and look at the purchases. Again, I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings, but we sometimes need a little bit of gut check. I realize I'm kind of gentle sometimes, but the reality is at the end of the day, if we never have a gut check, that moment where we say enough is enough is enough to ourselves, because we're the number one offender of lying to ourselves, telling ourselves things that aren't true, not following through on things we say we're going to do for ourselves, and then we go and pay somebody else to try to help us fix what we could have fixed if we would have just did what we said we were going to do in the beginning. And so look around your house, look around your surroundings right now. Everybody, if you're watching live or if you're watching the playback, type replay if you're watching the playback. Look around. Look at all that clutter. Look at all that stuff that you have collected and piled up. And I'm looking at a bookshelf full of stuff that I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna get rid of some more of it because it's like office stuff. But
Not the books.
I can look at it and I can look at this stuff and I can say, you got a bunch of BS. I can determine, was this an Amazon purchase? Because we are the queen and king of those Amazon purchases. And Amazon has your number. Has my number, has Carmen's number, has Aaliyah's number. It has everybody that's watching. I can't see who you are because you just say Facebook user, but thank you for coming live. But hit replay and share this because people need to hear. The thing is that they know your number. They psychologically have figured out how to get you to click and buy before you even think about it. Because they're in your email, they're on your Facebook social media, they're on your Instagram social media, they are on your internet. They gave you the ability to save items in your cart. Carmen posted a couple weeks ago how much stuff she has saved in her cart, right? And then every now and then when you get paid, you go and look at the cart and see, what in my cart can I buy this paycheck? Because I know I want this whatever, gizmo, gadget, whatever. Because somebody on Instagram told me I needed because they were doing a travel channel. And I love that they had I love they had these cute little makeup brush covers because I definitely just bought some cute little makeup brush covers for $5, right? But at the end of the day, the thing is that did I need to spend $5 on makeup brushes, right? And I know you're probably thinking, oh, it doesn't matter in the short term, but in the long term, when you start looking at the cost of that $5, how much money. And $5 could be $5, $50, $500, $5,000, right? Over time, how much that money could have made over time versus the little silicone makeup brushes that are going to be no good in a couple of months because they're going to have makeup all over them and they're going to be terrible and they're going to defeat the purpose because they still can get makeup everywhere just because of using them, right? But that's really, it. And I'm going to come down a little bit because I really want Carmen to talk to us about some other ways we can manage our debt. But the thing is that when are you going to hold yourself accountable for the dumb crap that you've done and have the conversation with yourself just like this and say, you did it. Now let's fix it. I've talked to Carmen Saran Alia one-on-one, and this is the plan they told me, and I'm going to follow the steps instead of giving yourself excuses every day to not do it. I'm just asking for a friend.
That's a good one.
All right, Saran. Saran sounds like Carmen tonight. Saran is yelling at the people because sometimes your passion just has to come out. Saran normally says, Carmen, okay, calm down. Don't yell at the people. And not that, but that she is absolutely right. Sometimes we really, really and truly have to just be open and honest. Stop beating around the bush and say what it is that people have to do. Because sometimes we're just trying to be nice and politically correct, and people go away and they don't get the full message. So here is something else about handling that debt. The very first thing, and people hate to hear the B word, but you've got to create a budget and you've got to stick to it. You got to create a budget.
And my mom was like, we talking about the B word?
Oh, yeah, we talking about the B word tonight, girl, right? You create that B word, that budget, and stick to it. And if it helps you to call it a spending plan, then call it a spending plan. If it helps you to call it whatever you want to call it, you call it that.
My financial forecast.
Yeah, there you go. But you have to create that budget. And when we say create a budget, we are not talking about creating a budget in your head. All of us think, oh, we bring in this and I'm just spending this and I'm there. The honest truth of the matter, unless you really and truly examine everything that you're spending on, and we tell you, grab your statements from the last 3 months and go through every single one of them. Write down what you've spent on And then when you're creating your budget, be really realistic, be really realistic. You're thinking, I just eat out once or twice a week. That's when you go someplace. How about all the times you Ubered in and you, what's the other Uber Eats in and uh,
Instacart and
Instacart and all these other things, right? All of those need to be in you. I was talking to a client of mine, and his homework was to pull the 3 months statements. I didn't want to work with him unless he pulled the 3 month statements and go through there and write down every single thing that he spent money on. And he called me. I called him to follow up on where he was, and he was like, I cannot believe that my spending was this much out of control. He did not realize it because we are, you know, one of the things that has happened in the recent years is that we have, or this, and it's happened um, on purpose, is to separate you from that emotion when you're spending. Because before, when we used to have cash, it was harder for you to part with your hard earned cash for something. Once the money was, you could see it, and the money was depleting because you had to pull it out. How many of you remember going, oh, I want this, but I'm not going to break this $100 for it? Because breaking that $100, it's an emotional attachment to money. Now we have no emotional connection and attachment to money. We're using a card, so we're one step removed. So it doesn't really hit the same way. It's almost like, just the same thing when Aaliyah mentioned, she said, teach it to your kids. Many of our kids do not understand how that money gets into that account that we go pull out from the ATM or we go spend at the bank when we hand the thing. The kids just think that's a magical machine that spits out money because no one has taught them that it's not that. And that's why kids are, asking for the things that they're asking for and whatever, because you have a magical thing that spits out money, right? And they're
And if you
not
pull
going
up
to
that
know.
plastic card, I get stuff at the store.
That's right. Why can't you buy it with that little card? What do you need money for? So you say, I don't have money. Kids were like, well, use the card, right? And
That's
so
where the money
we
goes.
have we have to get back to that connection, that thing, because money and spending and all of that is super emotional, and the banks realize that if we can separate that, you're going to spend more money. And if you don't believe me, check your accounts for the last 3 months and you will then see. And am I guilty of it sometimes? Yes, I still am. I am, as Saran said, I'm not speaking to you from a place of somewhere up on a high horse. These are things that we have experienced and we know. And now that we know better, not only do we have to do better, but we also have to teach it. So creating that budget is absolutely important. Telling your money where it is to go before it even gets there. Because if you don't have a plan for your money before you get it, it will be gone.
you know
You
what?
know, go ahead,
You are
Elaine.
right. You are so right. There's one tip also that we have in our little notes that we have, and that is try to negotiate on your credit cards. I did that a few months ago and I was pleasantly surprised. I got very low interest rates. And I was very excited about that. So there are things you can do. If you've had a great history of payment and things like that, they will negotiate the interest rates on your credit cards and then you can pay them down faster. I always pay way more than the minimum on my card. So that wasn't an issue for me, but negotiating those interest rates because you've had them for a long time or whatever. But another thing that I have been doing, and we don't think about this, and it's small, but it can be big. When COVID hit, and I realized I was eating out a ton, and Saran said, stop eating out. I was eating out for lunch every day. That's $8 to $13 a day on a hamburger or, some kind of whatever you do. You go to the restaurant, you
Oh, it's
sit down.
$20 now, girl, to go through the drive-through. So stop
Oh my
playing.
goodness, it's horrible. So you can make food at home for, especially for those that don't like to cook. I saw a recipe, and there are people that are there to help you. I have a nutritionist. So the same chicken nuggets that you can get somewhere else, you can go and buy your chicken breast for whatever, cost is. Go to the bulk stores, cut them up, create the same meal that you could get when you're sitting in a restaurant, and it tastes better. You know what's in it, kind of, but you know what? It's better for you. You make
Not
your
kind of.
vegetables, and it's healthier to eat at home because if there are studies that say the food that we eat now, that's what's causing all the illnesses in our bodies. In order for our bodies to heal and get on the right track with our money, we can eat better. And I've started to eat better. I know what's going in my body. I make my own food, which I didn't do because I didn't really like to cook. I was so busy working and trying to do other things. The cooking wasn't a priority. Just run over here and get something. But if we sit back and think about, you know what, in my budget, this is what I need to do. And if you have a freezer, make sure you have your freezer full of the food that you like, so that every day you don't have to run to the store. Because I was going to Costco because I like this flavored water that's 0 calorie. So I would go every day because they don't have it anymore. And I've checked it out. They don't have it because of something and they're bringing it back. But this is what I like. I go to Costco every day. Guess what? I'm buying stuff every
What you say?
day.
You buying stuff at Costco every day?
Yeah, it was just maybe something little or something. And it's like, it's real. You have to
You
watch
see my
yourself.
face?
I see it. I see it.
Something little at Costco at the bulk store.
Yeah.
I'm coming to your house. You on timeout?
I am on timeout. And toilet paper, paper towels, the prices have doubled, things like that. So you need to be aware of what you're purchasing. And I am guilty of that. That's why I can say this, because when I was doing the daily run looking for one thing, and I went in there and came out with soap. I didn't need any soap, but I liked the way it smelled. You know, I didn't need anything. But when you go and you're tempted, then that is when
Carmen,
you
we need an
spend your money.
intervention.
Huh?
Yeah, we do. We
We
do.
need an
We do.
intervention.
I think
I'm
she
done.
stopped. I think she stopped now. But you
You
know
know
what?
We need an intervention in California because I don't know what's happening out there, but
Well,
I'm going to use you because Aaliyah is classic. That's what we do. Our beautiful Black girls, that's what we do. We say we have
Yep.
it, so let's go ahead and keep spending it or buying it. And we're taking care of us. We're taking care of our family. We're taking care of mom and them. And all those things are altruistic. They're important. They're all important. But we have to keep focused, because the one fact that I want us to remember is that us ladies, us beautiful brown girls, and in most communities, the women, I don't even care what your ethnicity is, the women outlive the men 2-1.
Mm-hmm.
The women are living to 80 and 90 years old. And the women are the one, when we start talking about seniors and healthcare and prescription drugs and all these expensive things, we're talking about supporting women because we live so long. Because we're doing what Aaliyah's doing as far as getting healthy. I don't know about that going to Costco every day. But the thing is that if we are the ones who are living the longest, we got to be the smartest with our money.
Right.
And we can't leave it to someone else only. And I'm not knocking, our honeydews. They do the best that they can for us. But you're going to make sure that there's a plan for you. I don't care if you're 25 and married, 30 and married, or 60 and married. You got to make sure that there's a long-term plan for you to hit 90, right? And so to bring it back to the debt discussion, the debt management discussion, is some of y'all need to sell some of y'all stuff because you don't collect too much stuff anyway. I'm just saying, I'm not your friend today. Carmen's your friend today. She's your nice friend today. I'm not her, right? Now, the other thing is and again, like Carmen said, you got to evaluate it, especially if you're in the credit card debt. What in the world did you buy on that card? And go and look for it, because you might not even have it no more.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And decide, and start reevaluating what you're using your credit cards on, and get help from a professional. We have a whole debt elimination program that we do. And so if you want help, individual help, because this conversation is a general conversation and a wake-up call for you to get it together, girl. Now, come in, meet with one of us, book an appointment, millionaireladiesmob.com. It's easy. You pick anyone you want. Now, I'm not your friend today, so you're probably not going to book an appointment with me. I'm cool with that. But you need to talk to Carmen or Aaliyah, because I'm going to call them and tell them, you know what? She playing games. And don't get with one of us and be playing games. And stop waiting to get it together. I'm going to get it together before I meet with a financial professional. That's like getting skinny before you go to the trainer. Who does
that? But you know, while you're talking about that, for real, while you're talking about that, about this wake-up call, and the reason why you do need to do something now to get a hold of your debt is this. Who do you have your cell phone in front of you? Somebody pull it up for me. So I want to good. Go to the calculator for me. And I want us to do this all right, here we go. I just want us to do this for a quick second for you. I want you to multiply 10 by 3 by 7 by 52 by 2 and then by 30. And give me that number. $655,200 is the amount of money that you will spend in retirement for food for you and one other. All right, for you. So if we have to have that kind of money just for food, right? Average $10 a day.
That's a lot of food.
But listen, average $10 a day. And remember, you said 20, but I'm telling you, average $10 a day,
right?
Times 3 meals,
right?
Times 7 days, which is 1 week, times 52
you're not
weeks.
Eat all 7 days. Let's cut one of those days off.
we might have to do that. We might have to cut a couple of days off. But like times 52, right? And then Saran, you said then times 2 if it's you and a spouse, or what if it's not, you can divide that in half. But then times 30 years, because you just said we're living 25 and 30 years into retirement. That's how much we're going to spend for food. You cannot afford to retire if that much is for food. You can't afford to retire with $49,000 in your retirement account, or $100,000 in your retirement account, or $250,000 in your retirement account. You really can't. And this is what we're talking about. This is a wake-up call. Somebody would have told you that you will need over $500,000 just to feed you. And you know what I didn't take into consideration?
Inflation.
I did not count inflation.
Oh, and you didn't include tax.
I didn't include. Well, let's
food gets taxed in a lot of states.
Well, let's just say that my rough thing contained tax, but I didn't include inflation. So that's part of the reason why we need to get a hold of our debt and do something about it, because not doing that is really affecting our future person. We have to protect that future person who will not be eating for at least 2 days a week, by the way.
I just thought about what you said. So if we need $655,000 just to eat, right? If we were to double that to $20 a day, now we're talking 1.2 million, 1.3 million, right? But you just told me that it's going to cost me $655,000 to live and eat for 30 years in retirement. And I can't take my lunch right now to work.
Wow.
I can't take my lunch. I can't take my lunch and breakfast to work right now, or I can't cut back on groceries, or instead of letting the vegetables that I bought that I intended on making, instead of letting them rot, I chop them up and freeze them so they don't rot. Put a little date on the bag so you still have the vegetables in the future, or
you're going to need it in 30 years.
Getting your meat and seasoning it instead of letting it sit in the refrigerator because you decide to eat out all week and you now wasted that money, and you ate out, and you're not healthy. And that didn't count for healthcare expenses. That didn't count for co-payments. That didn't count for rents or mortgage or wherever you live. It wasn't transportation. It wasn't entertainment. it wasn't the stuff we love, fun with the grandkids or great grandkids. Cause you know when them babies come, y'all spending some money now.
Yep.
I ain't gonna act like I'm exempt because I got a new god baby and I'm trying to figure out how not to go broke right now. Because I'm like excited. She's like 6 weeks old and I'm ready to be like, take it all. Let's do whatever you want. And she's 6 weeks old. She don't know nothing, right?
Aww.
But the thing is that again, we talked about these things. Stop using those credit cards, negotiate those interest rates, create a budget and stick to it. You need help? I'm here to help you police that thing, baby. Make extra money on the side, which is the one we didn't talk. We're gonna go into that. Sell some of that crap. You ain't using it, sell it.
Yep.
Sell some of that crap. Get some help from one of the professionals. And really we want to say evaluate your expenses, but have someone else evaluate your expenses because you're going to give yourself an out. You're going to give yourself some emotion. Well, I was abused as a child, so I get to spend all this money. And I'm not joking about being abused as a child because that's true for me. Okay. I was hurt. My mother abandoned me. So I should be able to do all these things. Well, that's not an excuse for being having poor money habits, right? I had to pay for everything growing up. I had to pay for my own college and all this. So now I should just be able to be free willing. No, you should be responsible with your money because if you already had to take care of those things now, you're probably going to have to take care of them in the future. Or nobody bought me a Barbie Jeep when I was 5. Well, that doesn't mean you need to buy your child 5 Barbie Jeeps. One might be sufficient. I'm just saying.
Well, I wanted to say one thing. We haven't taken it into consideration. So you say we need $655,000, okay? What about us as women and equal pay? How are we going to get there? We don't even get equal pay. So these are things we got to think about.
Mm-hmm.
And as African Americans, it's even worse. Budget. Write it down. Figure out. Use side hustle. Figure out it shouldn't be a hustle. It should be fun. If you have to. If you have a talent, capitalize on those talents.
Monetize
Make extra money. So when you were talking and we were talking about everything, I just thought about it because yesterday I think it was equal pay day something for women, and we don't even get paid the same as a man. And we have this huge responsibility. We live longer and we don't even get paid the same. Mm-hmm. That's scary.
Yeah. And the thing too is we have to be responsible with our debt. Mm-hmm. I'm not knocking it. I had a conversation the other day with a colleague over at the Small Business Administration here in the area. And he was talking about the concern that he had for some of our melanated people who come in to get grants and loans for their businesses. And he said when he sees them, he's like, you don't need a grant or loan. You spent all your money that you could have invested in your business because they showed up in a Mercedes, a BMW, whatever. They got on red bottoms, Gucci shoes, Gucci belts. They got on the latest and greatest, whatever name brand outfit. They got $4,000 or $5,000 purses, $100 in nails, $300-$400 in hair. And he said not to be in a judgmental way, but he's like, I'm observing this and I'm thinking, you're not making smart money decisions if you're trying to be a business owner. Now, even if you made all these decisions and purchases pre-owning a business with your regular work income, you're showing up and asking for money to support your business, and you look like you've already spent money that you could have used for your business. And he's saying, I get it. We've been taught to look the part and to be professional and polished, but you can be professional and polished and not look like you broke the bank for your attire. Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know people who are fashionistas go right to the thrift store, come out with $10 worth of outfits and they look like $1 million. Right. And then there are people who actually spend those kind of dollars and they still look like $1 million. And the thing is he said, come in here neat and polished when you come to apply for your business grant or your business loan. He said, don't come in here looking like something off of the Vogue runway that you walked in here worth $6,000 and $6,000 to $10,000 an outfit.
Wow.
Because that becomes a concern for them to kind of question what's going on. And I just kind of said, I get it. And the thing is that as we're growing and we're doing certain things, and don't get me wrong, there's all these, ways to get business credit and all that other stuff. But if you can't manage personal credit, who told you was going to be able to manage business credit? Who?
Exactly. And that's exactly what they're saying. You can handle your money, but you want to come here and ask me for our money for you to handle. That's not going to work. And just the other day, I made a post. I said, if only we can be as concerned about our own last names as we are concerned about the Fendis, the Gucci's, the Chanel's, all of the different things. If we could only be as concerned about becoming the CEOs of our own last names, what a difference it would make.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you guys have seen this, but maybe I clicked on one too many things on either Facebook or TikTok or something. But every once in a while, I will come across a thing where this guy is interviewing people on the street about how much their outfit costs, right? From the necklace to the bands to the rings to the shirt, the pants, the shoes. And I kid you not, when you will hear people going, this is 60,000, this is 20,000, my shirt is 1,200, these pants are 2,200, my shoes is 1,400. And this person, and I always wanted, why can't I be there so I could see how much life insurance they have? How much money? I really want to know.
How much you got in your retirement account?
How much is
in your emergency fund?
How much is in the retirement account? How much is in the emergency fund?
How much stocks you got invested?
I want to be behind. And then they have a diamond tester to test those things. They're like, okay, it's 40,000 or it's 80, or they say it like this, it's 80 bands. 80 bands. This is 10 bands, and they have rings on the thing. This is 4 bands. This is 6 bands, and then they have the thing that tests, and it tests and says if it's really ice, if it's really diamonds, if it's ice or it's not. And for the most part, those things are real. There's other people where what people get upset when they found out that they man get him some fake ring or watch or something like that. But he asks for permission. He said, because this might break up some relationships or whatever. But I really and truly want to be the second interviewer after he goes there, so I can ask those questions.
What about your assets?
Yeah, and most
we know what's on your ASS, but what about your assets?
They're wearing those assets right there, and that's about it, And so I really want to be there to ask that. And I was going to say something else, but it slipped my mind. But that's what I'm thinking. That's why I think, and for the most part, by the way, the people that they're interviewing is our melanated people. It's our melanated people that defines our net worth by the stuff that we have on our skin or on our bodies and stuff like that. Meanwhile, and don't get me going, because I think last night I made a post on the GoFundMe again for burial. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying GoFundMe is not a good thing, right? Like my granddaughter came home the other day and she needs $1,000 just to dance. And I was like, oh, you might have to get a GoFundMe, girl. And she said, but I thought you said GoFundMes are no good. I said, no, GoFundMes are very good for things like that. It's no good for burying people and leaving your family in a whole bunch of debt, because most GoFundMes do not meet their goals. And 16% of them go without getting anything at all. And so it was really upsetting to me last night, because I looked at, and I used to be a school teacher, and you guys know that. And I looked at an educator who passed away. And now the only child has to be trying to GoFundMe to raise money for this educator. And the first thing I'm thinking, we talk about work insurance, right? And why you need more than that, but at least have that if that's available to you at work, so that your family could grieve and celebrate you, in peace, without having to go begging for money to do your final expense. So that really kind of bothered me last night when I saw a fellow educator that's past, um, you know, in an emergency kind of situation, nobody, it wasn't expected, as we always say, was not expected.
I mean,
Although,
none of
although
it's
I don't know
expected,
that you
right?
can't say you can't expect, because guess what? The only thing we have a born date and a death date, so it's going to happen sometime,
And
right?
neither one are known in advance, right? We have an
Exactly.
idea.
Right. So we have to do something about it. We really, really do have to do something about it. And I'm one that I love the fact that we get on here and talk about this stuff, because it's got to click with somebody. And if it only clicks with one person, I'm happy with that. But it's got to click with somebody, because things have got to change. We
Well,
cannot
and here's
keep
the
doing
thing.
the
I
same
like that.
things.
Send me one of those TikToks when it comes up so I can like it, and then it'll start popping up in my feed.
Okay.
So, but here's the thing, as you were saying it, I was sitting there thinking, well, what do I have on that's expensive? The most expensive thing I have on my body right now are these glasses. We all know how expensive glasses can be, but and they still weren't even that expensive because I got them on that fancy little glasses website. And I put my prescription in, right? Because I don't spend money on certain things. I'm not one of those people, right? I got $20 nails. I got some eyelashes on, some $20 eyelashes, a little cute little shirt. This shirt didn't cost me but $10 or whatever it was. Because I don't spend a lot of money on certain things, because I try to keep things simple for me, because it just works. But at the end of the day, the thing is no one's saying that you can't have a lavish lifestyle. We're just saying make sure your bank account matches what's on your behind.
And your
Right.
children
I
and
wanted
family
to
taken
ask that
care of.
question. There's some of them that had bags that were $30,000. And I wanted to see, hey, let me see how much cash is in there. I want
How much is
you
that
got
debit card in that purse worth?
right, right, exactly. That's what I wanted to want to see. It makes absolutely no sense that you got on a $500 bag, but you ain't got $5 in it. So
Well, and I think we have this conversation, and again, we're just, and I'm a little amped up because I talked to like 3 or 4 different people today, and I was like, wait a minute, you really calling me about the Instagram that you saw, and that you're going to open up another credit card, and we're trying to get you out of debt? You already have bad spending habits, so why would you add available credit to that right now? Right? And if you think the banks are going to fail, you think they're not going to turn credit cards off?
I was reading about a small business that had, they had their payroll and everything in the bank that failed, and she was so concerned because the payroll was supposed to hit that morning and it didn't. Everything was frozen, and her credit cards no longer worked. So when the
Mhm.
bank fails, the credit cards don't work either.
Right. And so, and that's the thing. And I think the important part is for the individual depositors. And that's you and me and Carmen. We're making deposits into the bank. Remember how bank works. Actually, you can come to my live on Monday because I'm going to do a deep dive on how the banks work.
What
But the
time is it?
basics is this: you put $1,000 into the bank, into a CD or whatever savings account, and it's locked in. They're going to take 90% of that and they're going to loan it out 10 times. You're going to keep it like 10% in reserve, right? But they're going to loan out your money 10 times at varying interest rates in order for them to make money. They make money when the people they loan that money to pay back the bank with interest. So that interest rate is their spread. That's how they make the money. Now, if you don't deposit money for the bank to loan, then they don't get to make their spread. And so if a bank has a challenge and maybe they've doubled their spread and they've loaned it more than 10 times, they've done 20, they doubled it up a few times or whatever. They put themselves at risk because they don't have the reserves to pay if everybody comes in and says, we want all our money.
Hmm.
you
And
know
so
what?
that's what those are some of the things that create the challenge in the banking world, because their business is based on you. So essentially you're the product. Your money you are the product, because if you don't open a savings account and get that money in there, then it's a challenge. And then even in some of the Forbes articles and different things that I've been reading, it's interesting because the big banks, if you want to go open the type of business accounts that are having the challenges at the SVP, the big banks take weeks to open those accounts. These smaller internet banks like SVP, they're opening accounts in the hour, by the day. And so they have a larger deposit rate just because of that. And so keep in mind, we are the product at the bank. And that's why they're
So
only insuring up to $250,000 per depositor, because you're the depositor is the product.
so
Because if
I'm
you don't
glad you
make the
brought that
deposit,
up.
the bank don't make the money.
I'm glad that you brought that up because you listen to us talk about being your own bank here. We show you how to create your own bank and private banking and things like that. And with you looking at what has happened over the weekend, I don't want to get political, but the honest truth of the matter is that in the last administration, there were some restrictions that were loosened that allow them not to have to keep as much reserves in their bank for when people make a run on the bank and say, oh, I want all my money or I'm taking out my money. Because what happens is, people are looking at what you do. And for instance, SVP made some financial moves that caused a lack of confidence from some of their depositors. And those depositors are like, well, why would they have to do that? If they're doing that, it must mean something. So I'm going to go pull my money. And then it's a domino effect and everybody runs to pull their money. So here is something that I'm going to share with you here today when we talk about private banking and why that is highly unlikely to have happened to you. Because in what we do, we have to keep way more reserves for to protect our business, right? If everybody decided to drop dead tonight, when we talk about keeping your money within cash value life insurance, we are able to protect or able to pay out the debts that we have because we keep way more in reserves for if something like that was to happen. So with us, you will not have to worry with your private bank for that something like that could happen to you. So it's another reason why your money is safer. Just think about it. When was the last time you heard of an insurance company going insolvent? It's not that it's never
Going
happened.
into receivership.
Right.
I believe it's only happened once in history.
There we go. And it's not that it's never happened, and there's things in place for if it were to happen, but it is nothing like you put in your money in the bank and playing Russian roulette with it. So I'm going to tell you right now, it's another reason for you to talk to us about what to do with your money so that not only you can keep it there safely, but that it can grow and that it's a hedge against inflation and that you can use it for all those different things that we talked about at the same time. Right? Being able to create your emergency fund within this vehicle that you have access to super quickly to so if you need to get 10, 20, 30, $40,000, you can get that amount of money within 48 hours, 36 to 48 hours to do whatever it is that you have to do. Another reason for a different vehicle. And like we said in the beginning, when I spoke earlier, it's all about having tools in your box and knowing which tool to use to solve which problem. You're not going to swat a fly with a hammer.
Right. And that really just brings us back to here. And we talk about this often, and I talk about this often. It's your money mindset that matters the most. Are you doing some of the things to heal the challenges that cause us to make the financial decisions that we make? And I get it. It's hard work. Nobody wants to do it. We just want to hold it down and suppress it. But at the end of the day, if you want your money to be different, you got to change your mind about it. Money is going to be attracted to you based on your mindset. Money will repel from you based on your mindset and how you handle it. And so the big thing is to really think about, what is it that's keeping me in a place that is not attracting it. And if we're having challenges, because I always tell people, and I know you ladies will agree, being broke is a mindset first before it becomes a physical reality.
Mm-hmm.
You could physically and financially have low funds and not have money, but you could mentally be rich and figuring out how to, this is temporary setback. I'm temporarily out of cash. I'm waiting on my next blessing. I know something's coming. Let me just keep grinding it out, doing what I need to do. I'm taking classes to better myself. I'm applying for promotions. I'm looking for better jobs. I'm open to opportunities. I'm investing in myself so that I can change my mental state in order to attract more to me. And, and personally, I know there's been times in my life when I've been down, I've been depressed, I've been sad. And the more depressed and sad I've been, the less money I've had because I've literally repelled it with my energy. And then as I built myself back up and got my mindset right and got my attitude right and got back on track to being who I am and who I know myself to be, got out of that funk, right? And I'm not saying to say that depression is easy. It's something that you can work to get yourself out of, changing your eating habits, changing your exercise habit, working on your mindset, getting the right things in your mind about you and working to heal yourself. You'll start to attract more things the more you change and the more you grow, right? Because these ladies wouldn't work with me if when they met me, I was a Debbie Downer all the time. Mm-hmm. And everything that I talked about was negative and I complained about everything and everything was happening to me, not for me. And everything was going wrong. Nothing was ever going right. And we became attracted to each other because we all had something good going on. We were all moving forward. We were all trying to make change. We were all trying to serve people and help people in the financial community. And we just came together and said, let's figure this out together. Let's have these live conversations because our women need to hear from real people about their money, not just the talking heads who tell everybody to do the same thing. And we're all like, oh, let's do what they said because they said it. Everybody said do it, but that doesn't make it right.
Right.
And, so that's really the conversation. And I know I probably was a little rough with you ladies tonight. But it's out of love. It's like that parent that's like digging in you or that coach that's on you because I know you can do better. I know you can be better. I know you can have better money management. I know you can love yourself more and show yourself more love than you're showing yourself by doing and making some different decisions. And does that mean that you got to make those decisions 100% of the time? Get it right 80% of the time, and I guarantee you your life will change. Get it right 85% of the time, your life will change. But getting it wrong 100% of the time is messing you up, right? So try to get it right more than you're getting it wrong, and you'll start going in the right direction. And at some point, you may reach a level of mastery, or maybe you don't. But maybe you reach a place of great comfort where you know you're not making silly mistakes and kicking yourself. I want you to be able to get up in the morning, look yourself in the mirror, and say, I'm proud of you today because you made a good decision and you stuck to it. I'm proud of you today because you said you were going to focus on paying off your debt and you got with a professional, you followed the plan and you did it step by step. Did you do it 100% perfect? No, but you got it 80% right, 85% right, and you're well on your way to being where you need to be. I'm proud of you because you said you're going to try to do meal prep for yourself at least 3 to 4 weeks out of the month, at least 3 weeks out of the month, and you did it, and you cut back on eating out, which changed your health, and you feel better, and you have higher energy. But I want you to be able to affirm yourself in this way every day by saying that you're proud of yourself for something you did for you, and not wait for somebody else to acknowledge you because you got the newest, latest, greatest, whatever. But for you to be able to be proud of yourself on your own and create your own place of acknowledgement and acceptance and love so that you're not looking for it externally in likes, follows, and shares.
Wow. Absolutely. This is powerful. You just powerful. Powerful.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna put that in a can. I'm gonna bottle it and I'm gonna sell it.
Sell it.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
Wow.
And with that, listen, I swear we get on here and we talk and don't even realize it's been an hour already since we've been talking.
It sure
But
has.
and so we don't take it lightly that you spent a few minutes with us. Come back and look at the rest of it. If you miss some, go back and look at it. We also have we've been on here for about a year already. So go back and look at some of the things that we've talked about before. Share this information, even if it resonates with you and you're like, yes, this, I know this already. Someone else needs to hear this. This is the whole point of us doing this, because we want to continue to educate our community, to elevate our community and take us to the next level when it comes to finances.
Mm-hmm.
So we absolutely enjoyed that you were able to spend a few minutes with us, and we want to say thank you. We didn't get too much into making some extra money, but if that's you and you need to make some extra money, we are your girls for you to talk to. We are constantly helping people to do what we do. And if you want to make some extra money without having to punch another clock, we are the people to get in touch with. Join our team, millionaireladiesmob.com. Send us a message, millionaireladiesmob@gmail.com. Hit up our inboxes. Definitely give us a like and a follow and share this information with someone else. Thank you. I am Carmen. You can reach me at carmen10k.com as well. We're actually the 10K queens, right? We are the 10K queens. So you might want to meet us at our first name at 10k.com. Saran at
That's right.
10k.com. Aaliyah 10k, Aaliyah 10k.com. You can meet us, any one of us there. So we want to give you, we want to say thanks again. Any parting words, ladies?
I just wanted to say, you know what? It may not be in your comfort zone to even think about this. Get out of that comfort zone. Do something that makes you a little uncomfortable. Sit down, look inside yourself. I did, and I'm working on myself. I'm a work in progress, but I really appreciate everyone just attending and liking, sharing this information. It's vital. Thank you so much for coming. I'm Aaliyah, the healthcare queen. You can reach me at Aaliyah 10K, and I love being here.
Peace,
Yep,
love,
yep.
and light. Get your money right. Come see me, saran10k.com. That's all I got.
All right.
Yes.